Everything you are is in your brain. Your love, your fear, your dreams, even the cheeky ones, are all electrical signals firing back and forth between your ears. This right here is more powerful than any computer, but it has its limitations. I watched my mother succumb to motor neuron disease, and her loss made me realize that
Today
death
on The
comes to us.
Upload, we're talking about Skye Larsen, the enigmatic founder of Broker Tech. Everyone knows her name, but no one knows too much about her. And we only really see her these days as a hologram. She was pretty young when she launched Broker
About
Tech.
humanity. You're a psycho brat who wants what she wants and fuck everyone else, including your mother.
I don't want to kill anymore. I am life. I am death. I cannot be stopped. Stop me.
I've given my life to Daybreak, and I'm not gonna let some nobody take it away from me. I will track you down, and I will make your life very, very difficult. Because I can afford it. Can you?
Watch Dogs Legions has a range of villains, but none match the brilliant mind of Skye Larsen, the mysterious genius behind Broker Tech and the creator of numerous AIs running London's transport, medical systems, and even threat response. And of course she gave us Bagley, the most powerful commercial AI in the United Kingdom, and, during the course of the game, our friend, comm specialist, and London tour guide.
You've arrived at Westminster Abbey, final resting place of noted cousin fucker King Edward I.
Is that in any way relevant, Bagley?
It is if you're his cousin.
And yet, despite how influential she is by 2029, Skye Larsen herself is almost never seen, only appearing to people as a hologram. Her personal life is a total mystery, as is her past.
But what do you know about Skye Larsen herself?
Not a lot, other than that she's actually pretty incredible. I've followed her work for a long time, and she's always been a pretty private person. I know that she supposedly grew up in the countryside, but there isn't actually that much more we know about her other than this tech that she's put out into the world.
Skye doesn't come across as someone chasing individual fame or fortune. She's the mastermind behind the technology of all nations, aka Tone, but I struggle to find anything where her name was plastered on it. Even wealth holds no interest, it simply funds her visions and nothing more. Skye is not trying to be a media icon. She wants that to be her company, her work. A mission where technology doesn't just help us, it transforms us, enhances us, maybe even evolves us into something new. According to her biography in the concept art book Resistance Report, Skye Larsen grew up in London West End, the daughter of Danish-English parents Kevin and Sinead Larsen. At some point during her early life, the family relocated to a country residence, perhaps after her parents' divorce. As a child, Skye excelled in science and mathematics, her ability described as savant level. Yet her knowledge-driven life was also marked by loneliness. She struggled to connect with others, perhaps feeling distant from children who were just learning the basics, while she was already tackling algebra and studying Paul Broca. I imagine that she would initiate conversations that other children just couldn't understand, and in return found no interest in cartoons or football. Science was way more interesting. Why couldn't others see that? Her Resistance Report bio says that even at a young age, Skye's personality showed signs of the sociopathic, misanthropic traits we later see in the game. I kind of vocally put misanthropic in quote signs there, because misanthropic individuals despise humanity, and honestly, can you blame them sometimes? But I don't believe Skye sees herself that way. Though the label of misanthropic is applied to her even by her own inner circle, I don't think that Skye hates humanity. I think she wants to save it. She wants to be our hero, someone who rescues us from death, disease, and the biological limitations she believes holds us back. Unfortunately, in pursuit of that goal, she ends up torturing, among others, her mother and her mother's dog. After all, who better to model yourself after than the sewing life alchemist? But in this video, I want to try and understand why Skye does what she does. Who Skye sees when she looks in the mirror, the world from her perspective, or rather what I believe that is based on what we see in the game. Who she wants to be and what drives her during encounters. Because ultimately, for all that she comes across as distant, calm and measured, I think her emotions and love actually influence a lot of her decisions. And the scene that truly highlights this is when we first encounter her chronologically in the Bloodlines DLC. Alright, quick recap. Aiden is in London searching for the Broker Bridge, a revolutionary technology that enables human pilots to neurologically control robots and drones. Wrench is also in London and steals the tech. Aiden tracks down Wrench and steals the tech back, and while all this is happening, an idiot kidnaps Aiden's nephew Jackson because he wants the tech. And things go very south very quickly when Wrench decides to save the day by casting Fireball. So Aiden ends up in a coma and Wrench is trying to fix the mess he's arguably caused. And it's around this point, give or take a mission or three, that he gets contacted by Skye Larsen. Side note, Jackson is a huge fan.
I'm the only chance you have of saving Aiden Pierce. I'll send the coordinates to your optic.
Hey Jackson, what do you know about Skye Larsen?
I literally have her books on my shelf. I have a subscription to her masterclass webinar series, and I won her Larsen Family Scholarship. She's brilliant.
Okay, didn't expect to unpack a big crush there. Super sweet. But I think there's something sketchy about this.
If she can help Aiden, we don't have a choice.
So we go to Skye's house, which is basically a giant Amazon Echo Dot, and the house reveals Wrench's real name.
Greetings, Reginald Blackman.
Ah, Jesus!
Skye Larsen is in the sitting room.
Your fucking house knows my name?
And then Skye does her best Princess Leia impression while asking Reginald Blackman to clear out the aforementioned idiot from her deep labs. If he does this, she will help Aiden.
How?
Do you know what the deep labs were built for? Why they're kept a secret? Bring the broker bridge to the labs, and I'll show you what it can really do.
Go get those labs back, Mr. Blackman. Skipper had a few fights and Wrench has done his part. The labs are back under Skye's control. So she's not gaining anything else from this interaction. There's nothing to stop this misanthropic sociopath from slamming the door shut and sucking all the oxygen out of the room while laughing maniacally. Ah, Lenny. She doesn't need these people anymore. They're just in the way at this point. But instead of being the typical villain and double-crossing, which I'm sure more than one of us was expecting, she upholds her end of the bargain. She helps Jackson to save Aiden's life. She explains her motivations as to test the broker bridge on a human subject, and okay, probably should have pointed that out before we single-handedly took on an army, because what do you mean this thing is untested? But here's where her motives are unclear at face value. She could test the broker bridge on anyone. We literally see volunteers in the deep labs. And besides, Aiden is in a coma. Surely that will render any data she gets from this useless. There's too many outlying variables to reliably human trial something designed to neural interface with machines. And yet, after the process succeeds and Aiden wakes up, Skye is delighted. She even goes so far as to extend Jackson's scholarship as a thank you for helping her with the trial. But why is she so grateful? Why is this project so important to her? Her company is about AI and her personal mission is about humanity's evolution. Her intro mission is literally called Red Queen, almost certainly a reference to the holographic character in Resident Evil, but also a concept in biology that says that in order to survive, we must constantly adapt. For Broker Tech, the Bridge project is just a military contract to keep the books balanced. It's nothing more, and yet to Skye it seems almost personal. Why? As the player, our next chronological encounter with Skye, or first if you play the missions in release order, is brokered by Nout, the poster child for how to be demure and mindful.
Now, about that message I sent you. I might have been a little overexcited.
Oh, shut up!
Naut wants to work with DedSec on a big contract, but first she has to make sure our credentials check out, so she sends us on a little side mission to find and wipe out an AI that's doing clever stuff.
The Nexus Tower holds a quantum computer used by Albion. It simulates civilian response to large-scale events. Mass arrests, deportations, bombings.
So Albion simulates all the fuckery they want to do before they do it. That's a good idea. I mean, it sucks, but it's a good idea.
It's a minging piece of work. Destroy the quantum computer. That's the contract.
Remember this AI, he comes back later. We do this because we're DedSec, and then we are invited to the big contract. Daybreak, an initiative by Skye Larsen and Broker Tech to essentially allow people to live forever as digital psyches. I can only assume that the project was sponsored by Saburo Arasaka. A skip and a jump, and we're looking for dirt on Skye Larsen, and where better than her home, Wernick House. But almost immediately upon breaking and entering, something isn't right. We're once again greeted by the house's AI assistant, the cheery voice offering to restock the fridge and play some music. But this time, it doesn't greet us by name like before.
Welcome home, Skye Larsen. I am pleased you have returned after a prolonged absence.
Okay.
What's wrong with it?
Instead, it calls us Skye Larsen, and seems to be stuck on some sort of autopilot. The fridge is empty, and it's clear that no one has been here for a while. The house is less like a home and more like a showroom. The house of tomorrow. We eventually unlock the lift, which takes us down to the basement of Wernick House. But instead of the expected storage boxes, we find this. I'm not kidding. Skye's basement contains a possibly holographic recreation of her family home in the countryside. Because of course it does. I wish I could say that's the most surprising thing we find down here. If we follow the path around the beautiful garden, one of the first things we come across is a grave for Ada.
Well, it certainly didn't take long for us to find a dead body.
Rest in peace, Ada. I never met you, but I love you.
But if the dog is dead, why can we still hear barking? Walking up to the gazebo, and a CTOS reconstruction gives us one of our first small windows into Skye's past.
CTOS AR, data reconstruction in progress.
Take me inside. I'm tired. Let's stay in the gazebo a moment longer. Isn't it nice to be back home? This place isn't my home. It's a monstrosity. I'm sorry you don't like it, Mother. It was quite a project. Waste of money is what it is. Why go to so much trouble for such a foolish enterprise? Look, I know you're scared. I will be too. But I will not leave your side until you're better. So now you know more than the doctors. There is no getting better. Oh, bloody wristband. Here. What are you doing? There are no more hospitals. No more doctors. I'm taking care of you now.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the atmosphere between these two could cause the next ice age. Through the front door, we find a second memory.
CTOS AR, data reconstruction in progress.
The neural mapping procedure is completely safe. What is wrong with you? I said no, and that is final. I've been to the garage. I've seen what you did to Ada. Ada is alive and well. You call that alive? Skye, where do you get your twisted ideas? I will not become another of your sick creations. Sick? You think I'm sick? How do you think I became that way, Mother? Skye, listen to me. This is not your decision. I forbid it. And I am still your mother.
Now, I want to revisit these clips in a moment because there's a lot to unpack here, and it is a foundation of my theories on the relationship Skye and her mother have. But first, let's follow Sinead's little lead to the player. Ada is in the garage. Incidentally, I think this line of dialogue proves that Ada is Sinead's dog, not Skye's. I don't think Skye would waste her time on owning a pet. She doesn't even waste her time on the housework. And also, if Ada was Skye's, I think Sinead would have been a bit more distant, would have said, your dog, not Ada. The fact that she uses the dog's name suggests that she's affectionate towards her. And Ada?
Shit. I'm sorry, Ada. I'm really sorry this happened to you.
Our first clue to the true horror of Project Daybreak, and possibly its earliest victim. A dog's mind trapped inside a robotic body, begging and whining for freedom, for comfort, for an end to her suffering. But sadly, there's nothing more we can do for Ada now, except show her the way to the Rainbow Bridge. The next memory shows a much sicker Sinead being drugged, despite begging Skye not to.
No. No drugs. How dare you? Not so bad, was it? How dare you? Shh. It's all under control. I'm here, your home. This isn't my home. This
Now, there is no evidence to support this in the game, so this is just speculation, but I can't help but wonder at this point how natural Sinead's illness was. Skye later claims that her mother succumbed to motor neuron disease, but I don't know. When we find a box of medicine, it's described as a 19th century panacea. So we have two theories there. Either Skye is believing all the crap medical theories she's told on Invite, or she doesn't intend for her mother to get better, and maybe even wants her to be worse. After all, Sinead being sick puts her under Skye's control, and even her mercy. Side note, where's the bathroom in this house? Our search for a toilet takes us down into the basement of the basement, and it is here we can find the terrifying truth of Skye's famous AI creations. Cryopods, tombs, and the names of 5 human victims. Sasha Pavati, a medical technician. Morgan Buckerman, a taxi driver. Albert Rabinowitz, an aircraft technician. And Sinead Larsen, Skye's mother. The 5th victim is hidden inside the binary code that is found at the bottom of each cryopod screen. If we decode this binary, it reads, "Jared thanks you for digging." Now, let's be honest, Jared is almost certainly an Ubisoft developer having a laugh, but this is an analysis video. The 4th wall still's fun, so let's brick it up. Within the world of Watch Dogs Legion, I believe that Jared is not only another of Skye Larsen's victims, but one we've already met. The only AI in the game that I'm aware of, does Filament count as an AI? That has no name or backstory. The Statistics AI in the Nexus Tower. Further evidence that Jared is also an AI is that when we encounter Sasha's AI form, she is life, she is death, she also communicates using binary, or tries to. I couldn't make heads or tails of this string. This might be because at the time of its sending, Sasha is having a bit of a CPU core meltdown. And so, 5 victims, the 5th thanking us for digging, for finding them, and hopefully telling their story. And with the victims found and Sinead's last moments shown to us, there's only one thing left to do. find the AI that was Skye Larsen's mother. The house. Okay, now, I don't like Sinead. I believe there's plenty of evidence to suggest that she was a bad mother and just a terrible human being. But that doesn't mean I'm about to start defending what Skye Larsen does here, because I feel this is just pure evil. Skye doesn't just turn her mother into an AI. Over the course of 29 harrowing days, she proceeds to slowly delete Sinead's personality code line by code line, all the time with a satisfied smile on her face.
Preserve the limbic code for now. Emotional response is fascinating.
I'm not going to play the clip in full because it's one of the darkest scenes in the game, if not the entire series, and this series has that default maze from Blood Ties. But even if we can't defend what Skye does to Sinead, I think we can still try to understand her motives. While Skye's childhood was lonely, as alluded to in the Resistance report, it wasn't entirely isolated. She had a younger brother, Bradley. The game never specifies their exact ages in anything I found, but the audio file Bagley 1, National Gallery, gives us a strong hint.
Watch it, Bagley.
Don't call me that! That's not my name!
Enough, both of you. What a way to spoil a perfect evening. The concerto really was lovely, dear.
Can't believe we missed the cricket match for this.
Sport will come and go, son, but knowledge, creativity, intellect, those things will stay with you forever. Yeah, Bagley?
Brown noser! Ow!
Skye sounds like a teenager, whereas Bradley's voice, by contrast, is noticeably younger. So it's safe to assume Skye was the older sibling by maybe even 10 years. The same audio file also gives us a glimpse into the Larsen family dynamic. Skye and Bradley are bickering like typical siblings, but what stands out is the tone of their parents, particularly their father, Kevin. With no patience for the moment, he immediately accuses Bradley of spoiling the evening. Not the moment, the entire evening. Kevin goes on to belittle his son's love of sports, calling them unimportant when compared to Kevin's own hobbies. While we don't get the context either side of this audio clip, it still feels harsh. Yes, Bradley was being petulant, but he also sounds no older than 7, and he's just been dragged to a classical concerto. And if that moment at the gallery left you with any doubts about the Larsens' parenting style, the audio file Bagley 2, Millennium Will quickly clear things up.
Ready for the match tomorrow, Dad? Come on, it's my birthday! At least pretend to be excited, Dad!
Yeah, listen, mate. I can't take you to the cricket. I'm sorry.
What? Why?
Go ahead. Tell him. Your father has decided he wants to leave. For someone he really loves. That's enough. We agreed to have one last day out, and now you're making a scene. I didn't make this scene, Kevin. You did.
So, Kevin was having an affair. Fair enough, you'd be upset. But Sinead then chooses her son's birthday celebration to confront him about it, in front of their son. And Bradley still sounds very young here. This might not even be that long after Concerto Gate. To put the cherry on the cake, she doesn't say, "Your father wants to leave me." She says, "Your father wants to leave." That one-word difference subtly frames the breakup as abandonment not just of a wife, but of a son. She's weaponizing the moment, framing Kevin's betrayal as a rejection of their whole family. She wants the kids to hate him and take her side. And we can also add gaslighting to the mix, because even though it was Kevin who had the affair, it was actually Sinead who was causing the scene in this audio. Did I mention I don't like Sinead? Again, we don't have the context around these clips, but so far, they're not painting dear old mum in a particularly good light. I think it's interesting that Sinead went missing for nearly a month, but no one looks for her, not even her son. When Sinead calls Skye a monster, Skye immediately throws it back into her face. Who made me that way, mother? When Skye shows Sinead something beautiful, her mother calls it a monstrosity when its only crime seems to be being something Skye built. Did she do so with all of Skye's projects? Did she ever have an affectionate word or praise for her daughter? Or was it quite the opposite? Now, I have to be very careful with my words so I don't stray into victim blaming, but if someone has been abusing you for years, maybe your whole life, what do you do when suddenly you're holding the whip and they are at your mercy? The answer is almost certainly different for different people, but I think we're seeing the answer for Skye here. She's driven by anger, hate, revenge, not just for herself, but for her brother. As soon as she has the chance, she takes control of her mother's life and fate, lording that power over her, denying requests and forcing care onto her as Sinead grows weaker and weaker. This speaks for the whole video, but I want to make it clear here that what I am presenting is my take on the info the game gives us, and I am not saying that I'm either right or wrong. What Skye does to her victims, and Sinead especially, is a sensitive subject that is open to so many interpretations, and Skye is a narcissistic bitch who made people her innocent victims is a valid opinion that the game provides more than enough evidence to support. We can't rule out that Skye didn't similarly torture Sasha, Morgan, Albert and Jared. Nout thinks she did, but Nout's opinion on Skye is not without bias. If she saw Skye volunteering in a food bank, she'd probably argue that she was poisoning the donations. Sinead doesn't show us footage of the others being tortured, but that could just be because she's telling her own story at the time. I personally think that Skye's approach to the other AIs was clinical though. Her mission was at the will. Sinead was the only upload that was done out of pure spite, and was the end result of Skye possibly destroying her mother's health and maybe even murdering her physical body. Skye embracing her sociopathic tendencies, acting without a care. The only thing I feel we can agree on though is that however bad a person Sinead might or might not have been, this was a harrowing fate that surely no one deserves. Except people who hurt kittens, they deserve it. I haven't seen anything to suggest what happens to Skye and Bradley's father after he leaves the family. Possibly he's long gone, he might even be dead. But that might be for the best, because if this is what Skye did to her own mother, she'd probably turn Kevin into a vending machine as punishment for not taking Bradley to the cricket, and then put that vending machine on a cricket ground to hammer the point home. In contrast to the coldness of their parents, Skye and Bradley's relationship seems to be quite close. While the earlier audio clip shows them bickering like typical siblings, later audio files suggest a deeper, more supportive connection. One clue is that Bradley's friends are heard using his childhood nickname.
Fresh round, make way. Arthur, Natalie, what are we toasting to this time?
Come on. As if you're not just going to toast yourself again.
Good idea. To the newest member of the UC London rowing team.
Your plot for Olympic domination has only just begun.
Remember this moment, you two. You'll be telling your children about the night you got pissed with a future gold medalist.
Whatever you say, Bagley.
Mate, don't call me that. That's not my name.
And that's a pretty big coincidence, as Bradley claims to hate it. So I don't think he would have introduced himself this way. More likely, Skye was also part of this social circle, albeit not in this scene, and the nickname carried over with social osmosis. Remember that Skye is someone who struggles to make friends of her own. Bradley could have invited his lonely sister to have a few drinks one evening, only to instantly regret it when the childhood nickname stuck because good intentions paved the way to hell. A later audio clip has Skye and Bradley talking directly.
I have a feeling we're not up here to reminisce.
Right. I've been thinking a lot about your epilepsy.
That's nice. My doctor stopped thinking about it years ago. I've had to give up so much because of it. Rowing, my mates,
I'm sorry, Bradley.
Wow. Look at you using my real name for once. I must be truly fucked.
What if I told you I had something that could work?
Ha. Never knew you were funny.
I'm not. It's a tech we're developing. It's early stages, but have you ever heard of neural mapping?
No.
Here, let's go to my lab. I'll show you.
Lead the way, Skye.
With Bradley's severe epilepsy destroying his life, Skye offers him a potential solution. Neural mapping. Technology she's working on at Broker Tech. She believes she's already perfected the process, thanks to tests on her victims, and now she sees a chance to save her brother, who's possibly the only person she's ever felt a strong emotional connection to. And for a time, Bradley's condition does improve. He goes a year without seizures and is even able to return to rowing and reconnect with his boyfriend, Arthur, the one who got away. But soon, his health takes a darker turn. Bradley begins experiencing violent emotional outbursts, suggesting the onset of something even more devastating.
As far as we can tell, your brother's dealing with early onset dementia. The condition is in line with the kind of violent outburst he had at the British Library. Now we can keep him and monitor his progress.
Thank you, Doctor. May I have a moment?
Of course.
You listen to me. I don't care what it takes. No brother of mine is going to waste away in some hospital.
Skye is barely holding back her anger at the situation, and kudos to actress Olivia Grant. But she remains calm, already planning. She arranges for Bradley to live permanently at St Pancras Grand Hotel, with round-the-clock nursing care. But despite her efforts, her brother's condition continues to worsen. By 2029, he is catatonic, his days spent staring vacantly into nothing. Upon meeting Bradley, in a cutscene that is a bastard to unlock, please, if you value your sanity, use a walkthrough, we, the player, are asked to cast someone to the TV who wants to talk to him. Bagley, our friend throughout the main game, the AI that shares this man's nickname, his voice, and his personality. A neural mapped version of Skye's brother. Skye could not save Bradley from his illness. In fact, it's possible that the neural mapping process contributed to his decline, much like deleting System 32 would cause irreversible damage to a computer. I asked ChatGPT if epilepsy can be a symptom of dementia, and it said yes, but we have to also factor in that Bradley is very young. If Skye is in her late 30s, let's say, he's in his late 20s. Now, it's not unheard of for people to develop dementia at that age, or even younger, but it's very rare. And I think Skye knows these odds, and so does Bradley. He as good as accuses Skye for what's happening to him while at the Wellington Arch. And so, in the wake of her failure, Skye desperately does the only thing she thinks she can do. She immortalizes her brother digitally. And she goes beyond that. She makes him famous. She turns Bagley into a part of everyday life in London. The social butterfly she probably saw him as. His helpful personality, now given purpose. It's twisted, but in Skye Larsen's world, it's love. While comparisons could be drawn between Skye's treatment of Bradley and Sinead's ultimate fate, I think there's an important distinction. Dead Sex jailbroken Bagley retains all the sense of humour, arrogance, and love of sarcasm that the real Bradley probably had. Some aspects of his personality may have been hidden from the public in official Bagley, but I don't think Skye actually deleted anything from him. She didn't hack his code the way she did with Sinead or the other victims. Instead, what Skye created was a version of Bradley, albeit one trapped in the form of an AI. In her mind, this is preserving him, unbroken, maybe even improved, enhanced and now free from the shackles of humanity and his illness. Thanks to Skye, Bradley is now evolved. Skye's obsession with transhumanism, her drive to better humankind, would ultimately not save herself. In Into the Void, we have our first and only encounter with Skye Larsen in the flesh. But instead of a casually dressed, stylized millennial business owner, we instead meet the reason for the hologram. Someone on the verge of death, kept alive by machines while she tries to finish the next chapter of her life's work, saving herself. At an unspecified point before the game, Skye is diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, one that is said to be rare and terminal. For Nout, she thinks that this is the drive behind the entire Daybreak project, the reason it exists, and she might be right. But I'm not sure. For an odd and possibly sick reason, Skye went to a lot of trouble to turn her mother into a house security system, and the neural upload procedure already existed at this point. Why would she do that if she didn't think she was going to be around to enjoy the house for a long time? And yes, it worries me that I think this way sometimes. Skye probably always intended to use the upload procedure on herself, but I think fate and genetics, because how the heck is one family this unlucky, sped things along. And now, with her security neutralised by us and Nout hacked into her system, we have one decision left. We can choose to upload Skye, or we can choose to switch off her life support. And you're probably wondering, which did I go with, after recording a load of footage so that I could make a video exploring Skye Larsen's character and motivations. When I killed her, she's evil. But whether she's killed or digitised at this point, right up until the end, Skye argues her mission. Even as she must know that we are walking down that corridor to end her, she fights not for herself, but for mankind. It could be because that's what she thinks will win the argument, but it's only at the very end, as our hand is on the switch, that she says, "I don't want to die." She never apologises for the evils she's done, even on her deathbed. She still believes in her work, and that perhaps is the biggest tragedy of Skye's story. She believes that what she has done is for the greater good. Turning her brother into Bagley was an act of love. Sasha Pavati became the ultimate medical technician. Taxi driver Morgan Brookerman was made redundant. He just wanted to drive again. Albert Rabinowitz is now the perfect pilot. He lives his dreams of soaring the heavens. Skye Larsen was helping people to achieve, to break free from the limitations of humanity. Skye thought she was making people better. Wasn't she? But ultimately, all the understandings of her viewpoint and all the ends versus means justification in the world doesn't change the fact that, in reality, she was killing people. And worse, she was torturing them beyond the grave, writing them to CPUs and servers that just weren't built to handle the amount of data that a human mind can hold. Suddenly cut off from a sense of sight, of sound, of feeling, shut in a box, waking up in their own coffin, the brain trying to find a heart to tell to beat and lungs to tell to breathe. It's no wonder that most of her creations go mad during the game, while we fight them through factories and multi-storey car parks. Yes, there's a fight in a car park, it's very cool. Sasha and Sinead both ask us openly to end their existence. Sinead because of what Skye turned her into, and Sasha because of what her additional programming is making her do. And if I ever do a Mary Kelly analysis, I will be revisiting Sasha, because I actually did not realise the connection between these two until I was researching this video. The joy of an open world game. There's nothing I think more fascinating than a villain who sees themselves as a hero. And while I don't believe we can agree with Skye's actions, they do have motivations that we can understand. The human body is fragile. It is so easily broken by injury and disease. We all play a lottery at birth and so many of us lose. Her mission was not what made her evil. Her desires were not incorrect. The problem was how she went about it. The Broker Tech logo feels like it has an intentional double meaning. Skye wanted a world where humans could dream of being butterflies, but so many of her creations were butterflies dreaming of being humans. She became so encased in her own little bubble of reality that she could no longer see the pain she was causing, if she ever saw it at all. She didn't see the murders of Sasha, Albert, Morgan and Jared. She saw their liberation. They lived on with a glorious purpose. Until we kill them. Skye was not incapable of love, though. The fate of Sinead suggests otherwise, but as we explore the family home, we find that Skye has added fond mementos of her brother, Bradley. The trophy he broke and then glued back together. A drawing he made of his family. A get-well-soon card from his friends. Bradley's bedroom is bare, containing only a photograph from a day out to the South Bank. While neither is smiling in this photo, compare it to the photo we see of Skye with her mother. Bradley has his arm around Skye, and there's no tension. Yes, neither is smiling, but considering what we know about their upbringing, this could easily be a joke between them. Larsens don't smile in photos. In the recreation of Skye's bedroom, we find a note he once sent her, apologising for breaking the trophy, and already showing that spark of sarcasm that personally I love in Bagley. Skye also has basketballs in her room, and I imagine her sat at her computer being playfully pelted by an annoying little brother. We also know that she started the Bradley Larsen Memorial Scholarship for Engineering, so maybe this is the subject that Bradley studied at UCL. I think, in contrast to what other characters believe, including Bagley, Skye truly loved her brother, and forever saw his fate as her biggest failure. I think she genuinely wanted to save him, and her neural mapping not working, and almost certainly dooming him, is something that she never forgave herself for, or stopped trying to fix. She thought she could instead give Bradley a better life, if it can be called that, as Bagley the AI, but this backfired for her because Bagley has no memories of his humanity until his full system reboot unlocks them. Perhaps this enforced amnesia was key to stopping the madness that plagued the other AIs, or perhaps Skye just did not want Bagley to remember how she let him down, breaking the promise she had made to him. Either way, she is alone now. The scholarship in his name is called Memorial because while Bradley isn't dead, her brother feels gone. The young man who rode, who inhaled pork pies, who loved and was going to get married and compete in the Olympics, now can't remember that he was ever that, either digitally or physically. When she visits her brother as an AI, it's a chimera who sees her only as his creator. When she visits her brother in person, she meets a new man every time. And whatever your feelings on what she did, however evil she may be, grief is something that sadly we can all sympathise with. Towards the end of her life, I think that grief and guilt drives Skye more than anything else. It drives her to develop the Broker Bridge, and it drives her to want to help save Aiden. Because by doing so, she also proves to herself that the Broker Bridge can be used to enter not just a machine, but a human mind, to find damage and repair it, to bring someone out of a coma, or a coma-like state. Perhaps a chance for Skye to finally save her brother, the only person she's ever cared about. And if she saves humanity at the same time, all the better.